You're now watching two old farts making noises. Wild About Art with Natassia Wilde.
Well, that was me. Hi, everyone. This is Wild About
Hi,
Art.
Miss Wild.
And I'm Natassia Wilde. And we are meeting today with Steve and Dave of the Two Old Toots show.
It's okay to say two old farts. Listen, after I just went
Yeah.
through that smooth jazz with Kenny G, I don't know if I want to take a nap or if I need to go for a run to wake up. It was like, it's very cool. It's we have a very sophisticated show now with that intro. I like that.
Right. We're just a whole new year,
Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Guys.
It's all about you, Miss Wild. It's your show.
That's
it's
right.
Wild About
It's your
Art.
show.
So people want
Bravo.
to see you and find out who your guests are. We're
You
excited
wanna
as well.
see me?
Yes, they want to see you. Yes.
Okay.
They're not tuning in for us, I can tell you that. So
Well, you know, we do get that geriatric crowd, that one senior home that likes us. So,
yeah.
And then I know our guest today is a world famous photographer, and I know he's spoken to David about laying naked on a bare rug for those older ladies to make the calendar. So I'm very excited to see how that calendar shoot works.
Yeah, our guest today is an incredible artist. I'm sure that people actually want to see some art too. His name is Raphael Umscheid, and I've been working with him for a couple of years now, and he never ceases to amaze me. So allow me to introduce him, and let's bring him in.
There he is. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, everybody. That bearskin rug concept, I'm into it.
That's why I'm the creative one. Not really.
I like to take ideas from everywhere. So
there you go. So
that was a joke. I think if you had me on a bearskin rug, it'd be more like a nightmare. But there you go.
Well, it just depends on who you're asking.
That's right. I'm telling you that senior home up the street, David. We could sell 10 calendars just like that. I'm telling you, or give them away. It depends. So. Just trying to help you out. So enough about us being stupid, because we can do that for the whole hour. You are, my friend. I looked at your website, and we usually don't know about our guests because we like it to kind of be a surprise. But when Miss Wild was telling us about you, we were like, "Oh, really?" And we read you have done everything. So I don't even know where to be. And like, can you tell us how you started? How you got? I understand you did for Playboy, you did Vogue, you did this, you did that. So, like, how did you get, did you wake up one day, you came out of the embryo, you had a camera, and went, Mom, I'm going to be a photographer. And then that was it. You were off to the races.
Pretty much the opposite of that.
Okay.
I really didn't, I was always visually oriented as a child and drawing all the time, doing those things. But I never thought that would be some path that was possible. And, not parent bashing, but I just wasn't encouraged in that way at all. So I went a more of a path where I got a geography degree and urban planning, and was going that route. I was really into city planning, and I still, I enjoy walking and doing those things. So connection and people, all are things that I'm always seeking. So yeah, it was a totally opposite path. And then I was really into music, originally moved to Austin for the live music, and got into the music scene and met a friend. We started playing music, and he had a camera, and he was just taking beautiful pictures. He still does to this day. He's in Portland now, but we still communicate regularly. And it was kind of through that I realized that I could do a lot of these things that I never realized or gave myself credit for. So it was really a slow path. And I mean, I still feel like I'm always, and I like to feel this way, that I'm always having a lot to learn, that I'll never ever be enough. I think it's one of those pushes, and I don't know if that's pretty common with artists, but you want to always have some goal. I think if you don't have something that's bigger than yourself, maybe you stop growing, and maybe that's kind of sad. But yeah, it was not. It was just one of those things where I started taking pictures, and then people started asking me to take their picture. So that's where that kind of ended up happening, because I initially thought I was really more into painting. So now here I've been coming at everything from different angles. I can't see both my hands. I've been coming at to a point, I think, with all of my work, with the visual work, even with film, where it is often integrating painting, because I'm a frustrated painter. I think I like the tactile nature of that, and I like to try to integrate environments, whether it's humans in the environment and the flattening out the grounds with linear features with the paint. I'll be doing that this afternoon. So yeah, it was definitely a slow path to getting there.
Very cool. And so how did you get, I saw like Playboy and Vogue and Italian Vogue and this and that. So how did you go from, if you will, and I mean this in more of a cute sense than any other way, like a kid that came to Austin, I'm taking some pictures, playing some music, I'm hanging out, and now all of a sudden I've got Vogue calling me, which whether it's Italian Vogue or US Vogue, Vogue is Vogue. Playboy naked women, I like that one. But anyway, no, but even Playboy, but those other things. So how did you get from like people say, hey, take a picture of me, or if you will, do our wedding or whatever it might be, or a portrait, to where you're now in demand, if you will, on a global basis?
Yeah, it's definitely the meeting the right person at the right time, and that always seems to lead to everything.
Right.
Real personal connections. Everything that I've ever achieved, I'll give myself the credit for the hard work, but it was because I met a person that told me about this, and that led me to that. So with the publications, I had one contact, and she was helpful for making that connection and lead. And with certain films and things I've worked on, or music videos, I just went to the show and posted on Instagram. And next thing you know, I'm doing a video work for them, or album cover work. So it's always this getting out in real life has been very helpful. Pressing the flesh, the old all that connection stuff is really the key.
It's strange though, Raphael, because you say, "Oh, I just took this picture and I just put it on Instagram." I mean, I've just been taking pictures and I've just been posting them, but nobody wants me to make their music video. So you must have some magic dust somewhere.
Well, there and with some of those examples, I always wondered how it happened. Also, I know there was so I put on in 2015. I put together 8 bands, and I had help from a local booker in town to help me get the bands that I wanted. And then I want the concept I wanted, and it was really basically because I wanted my friends from Portland to come down with their band. I had made music at an artist residency in Washington. We had a week there. I took video, made a story, and each day we were meeting. They're kind of a little bit. They were more free jazz in a way. So we were working each night, and then the Saturday we presented our film. But I wanted to show that in Austin, so it was really me trying to self-promote. So I put on this video show with several other bands and artists, and I wanted them to do the same thing that we did. So then that helped me. I think that's how it sort of. I did take that picture on Instagram, but I think somehow, some way, there was that connection through the booker that helped me. But she's never admitted to it. I just suspect things, but. So it wasn't as simple as just the Instagram picture.
It's a little more. It's a little more involved. So now,
Well, it
how did?
happens, as you go along in your career, people take notice, and then you just keep doing it, and then eventually someone has the right connection for you. But that's downplaying your talent, obviously. You go beyond photography. You've meshed these two mediums, painting and photography, and even digital art in a way that's surprising and has a statement, a commentary. I really love your work. So, do you have? I see the painting in the background. I'm curious about because I've shown it before, and there was part of a series, very popular.
This is the one that didn't sell out of the.
There's the only one that didn't sell out of that series, but it's one of my
two
favorites.
out of three. Yeah. So yeah, this is one that I did with this Siberian dancer Anya. I'm working with her a lot. She's was a trained ballerina, so she's amazing. So I mean, I'm not downplaying myself, but I always do appreciate all the talents that are around me and what they can offer me, and her abilities to move and create are phenomenal. So she meets me halfway, and these concepts, like dance films, I've worked with her. I'll come up with a silly idea of you be a flower and come up from the ground, and she, takes it in her own way and builds from it. So yeah, that's a piece, composited photograph. I have always my sketchbook of stuff, and I have these drawings. So tonight I'm going to try to do something around these lines. If you can see it with the back.
Can't see that at all.
Can't see it at all. Good. It's a secret.
Vaguely. It's a secret. It's trademarked. So.
Right. So yeah. The copyright, that website puts it on there automatically. You could have used some images. I grant you permission. Anyway.
Well, thank you.
But yeah.
Well,
so
what I mean, Raphael, is that I don't know if you want to make a selection of photos that we could add to your profile on our site.
Sure.
Or you just take what you like. I'd love to be about 5 or 6. Just
okay.
So if you're happy with
and
that,
you can always put like a watermark over it, to.
Yeah.
I know that art theft is a big hot topic these days, and for good reason.
Yeah.
I see people on my photography website, and like they're just like lingering. Nobody ever, it's like there's like the same person comes back, and I'm like curious. I'm like, are you just like screenshotting my what are you doing in there?
Yeah, I suspect a lot of that happens.
Yeah, I bet it
and
does.
What can you do in this digital world now?
Right.
So,
and you guys spend
that's
hours
why it is
like
great.
reverse image searching and then come after them and be like, hey, you stole my photo. And they're like, well, too bad, like kind of thing.
And I'm still, old fashioned enough where I love prints, and I love painting. I love, what I've been trying to do the past couple of years on the painting is just thicker and thicker paint. I just want more paint. So the digital world is satisfying in some ways, but there's always the real stuff that you can have around you and feel just different.
So let me ask you this. So you paint and you photography. So did you go to school to learn to paint? Are you self-taught? And the same with photography. Did you go and learn about all I know about f-stops is you have to know what an f-stop is, and I just know the word. So did you learn any of that, or is it sort of like I'm just going to learn on my own? And you take your Kodak Instamatic click box, and that was how you started, or how did you get started then?
Everything is pretty much self-taught. I did take a painting class at the local Adelaide Dojo in Austin here. I did that in March of last year, which was great. Just COVID was kind of still lingering, and we all came in and we had a life drawing, so that was good. I picked up a lot from that, just being in a room with really masters, which don't consider myself a master painter at this point. Right. I'm a painter and then a photographer. So I feel like my ideas are more conceptual than the master painting. So I definitely admire that ability to be able to paint at that level. With photography, it's been pretty much first started with, buying books. I would go to the library, get books and read about it. And then I had friends that took photos, and we would just go walk around, take pictures, or go to a show, take photos. It was a slow kind of learning process, but I'm pretty motivated about teaching myself things when I want to know them. There's things I don't want to know about, like I don't know how to fix anything in the house. So those things, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So I'm definitely selective in what I learn about, but yeah, pretty much self-taught.
Cool.
School of hard knocks.
So, yes. So is there any projects?
I'm sorry, Steve. Could I ask Natassia? Then you said that you'd work with Raphael.
Well, I mean that as a curator, I've worked with him.
Yeah,
I've shown his work 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 times actually. Yeah, and everyone's always very complimentary, very interested in what he does. Whether it be photography or painting, and he's easy to sell because he's great. And what's interesting is that that series that we're talking about, most people can't even tell that it's not a painting. So I definitely had that moment where I sold one of his pieces, or 2 I think it was 2 to the same. He bought one and then he bought another one later because he just loved it so much. And then later he was like, wait, this isn't a painting? And I was like, no, it's it's a photo. It's digitally modified to look like it because it has the brush strokes, and it's just so you really can't tell. So I just think that's interesting. And I mean, even though Raphael is a painter, like he doesn't, he can mix those mediums. He can go back and forth between the two and everywhere in between. So I think that's what's unique about your style.
Yeah, and I'm definitely using the love of painting and those things. I mean, she's painting herself right there in this image. Yeah. So the whole thing is about creating and painting. So
remind me what it's called again. It's like
I never remember.
Okay, I'll have to find that one.
Yeah, you gotta love an artist. Then you go, what's the name of your painting? He's like, it's a painting, or photography, like a painting thing. It's $4,000. Write me the check. Right.
Yeah.
So
it's that painting on the wall. The painting on the wall.
That's right. So is that for sale though? Is the painting? We're going to call it the painting on the wall. Congratulations, we've named it. It is for sale.
Yes.
All right. So and everybody knows I always ask this question of our artists that we talk to around the world. So if somebody sees this and goes, I must own, technically not a painting, a photograph that's been digitally mastered to look like a painting. See, I paid attention.
Good job.
Thank you very little. So, yay! So between the both of you, your curator over here and yourself, what would you charge for that painting? Wow, I'm glad.
I mean, I think we haven't talked about that, but
okay,
it's somewhere in the realm of like 3,000, I believe, is what we did last time.
I'm just asking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. At this point, no one knows the name of the painting. I can see the phone call now. The painting no one knows the name of. That's not really a painting. It's a picture. That's a digital thing. That's written on the back. Yeah. It's $3,000. All I know is it's $3,000. We're just going to call it the painting with no name.
It's signed. It's unique. It's a canvas print. There's, it's limited. There's not. There's just one that I know of right now. So, and I don't know how you do that exactly, Raphael, but when you, we can talk about that.
Yeah,
actually,
this is stretched canvas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's some that I've done with paint on top of them. So I mixed it all different types of ways. I mean, really, I'm trying to play with, even in video, I'm doing different things and either painting some way with the layering of the video or getting an actual brush. One I painted green on the subject where they dropped out. So there's all types of ways I've been going back and forth with these processes. So it's always kind of an experiment and I'm like, was this going to work or not? I like that excitement of trying things out.
So do you consider yourself more of a, like if you have 100% of time, is 50% where you do your painting? Is 50% photography? How do you, where do you divide your time up? Or is it just whatever comes along?
It's there's definitely the thing that comes along dictating my time, especially at the moment.
Okay.
I'm just shot some cover work for a musician. She's coming out with an album here shortly, and then she wants me to do 2 music videos for her. So that will probably be a lot of my time the next 2 months. So I'm squeezing in a shoot with 2 models today and paint, and that will be some of this type of work. And then actual painting, just pure out and out painting will probably be another month, because I don't see myself having the extra time. I'm doing you remember the show Twin Peaks?
Yes.
I'm doing something. I don't know who I'm working with, but again, it's with musicians in February. So I'll be doing some type of video work that projects with them. And usually I've done it in the past for this event, Twin Peaks Day, February 24th. And one year we had the character Laura Palmer. So I had to make a film that went with that. So that I feel like that's my next 2 months, is really a lot of video and a little bit of the photo painting work. And painting at the moment, pure out and out painting will be in the cracks.
Gotcha. So I was going to ask you, my next question was what's on your plate? Now we know what's on your plate. So you're like busy today, tomorrow. You're literally going to be busy until like almost March 1st.
Yes. Yeah. And then I have a meeting at 2, and it's totally not any of this. It's I have got myself into several videos for a fashion. They're doing makeovers for fancy people. So
okay,
that's another part of it. So yeah, I'm definitely in the video world at the moment, and which is I'm not complaining. It's good work. It's fun and challenging, but it's definitely a challenge to be doing my pure artwork and then going to this commercial aspect of a challenge. Yeah.
Raphael, could I just take you back a little bit to your photography, because I had the link, of course, to the site, which I very quickly looked at, and you made that very wonderful remark. Oh yeah, I just threw it on Instagram and everybody loved it, etc., etc. But the one thing that really, when I started to look at the photographs on your website, I know this is going to sound a bit weird, they were really easy on the eye. And I think that I don't know whether maybe that's the magic dust that you have, because sometimes when you're confronted with a lot of imagery, you have to think, and what I found myself doing was being totally drawn into it. So yeah, maybe it's just me.
Yeah. I mean, there could be that easy on the eye and vacuous, which I don't want to be. And then there's the easy on the eye, and I hope that there's always a little bit more depth that does take someone into that.
It wasn't negative from my side at all.
I wasn't taking it that way. I guess I always have this. I had someone that I totally did not think their opinion didn't matter to me at all, but it was someone that told me it was my job as a photographer to flatter my subject, and I was like, no, it isn't. That's not my job. I don't, as an artist, I don't feel like I'm here to flatter or just make something that's just purely, but easy. I mean, I think it's my influence of I love David Lynch, and that to me is always like an easy, at least like Mulholland Drive or something like that. To me, it's just beautiful, and it takes me in, and I think that's the space that I feel most drawn to, and something that's I don't always understand and a little bit mysterious, but it's a little bit, I don't know, that drawing in. I'm lacking the word sometimes. That's why I paint
No,
and do visual things.
I think it's great that you're lacking the words, because you were just explaining much better than what I was trying to explain. That there was something slightly mysterious about it. But I say I don't know what it is. I mean, we always talk about art. You like what you like, and we were bombarded with photographs everywhere. On the internet, or every magazine that you pick up, and every so often you'll flip through something, and you'll stop, and you won't know why. And I got kind of stuck on about two or three. I was looking at two or three things on his site, and I got stuck, and I thought, blimey, I've been here a couple of 3 minutes looking at this. Why am I doing that? So I felt that I just wanted to ask you about that. So, wonderful stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying that because you're on the show. Yeah. You got another fan. It's me. So,
all right.
For what that's worth.
I love
David's
it.
just trying to get that. David's just trying to get that bear rug shot. That's all. I think.
Yeah,
What can I say?
There you go. I think maybe what you're trying to say, and this is how when I looked at your art, it's the beauty of the moment. That's what your photography captures, and maybe that's what you're trying to say. It's the beauty of the moment. Like I see something, whether it's a plant, it's a person, whatever it is. I took that. It's that moment, and that's what it was. So to your point, yes, it's not your job to make anybody look better, right? It's just the beauty of the moment. I think that's how I would look at it. But then again, I don't know anything. I'm a finance guy. So.
It depends on the photographer too.
Everybody
has their own perspective, and that that's what makes us unique. That's why I like it. Yeah.
So now, do you have a show coming up by any chance in the future, or or all these other little projects have you so busy that you can't, have Miss Wilde then curate a show of your? I want to say painting, but not.
Show. I'm sure he could definitely do that. But I don't know if you have any other things going on, but currently,
as far as
TBD.
Yeah. The show. I don't have any visual shows at the moment. I do have a music show tomorrow night, but that's completely different.
No, tell us about your music.
Yeah, I have this little band that I really started working really because it was the drummer and I. It was the pandemic, and we got together and made ourselves happy doing that. So it's just a fun side project, and I keep joking around that I can make money at photography and I can make money at video and paintings, but the music is a total loss on the money part.
On the money,
but we love it. We're just gonna go have fun. So we have a couple shows coming up. So we're just a post rock kind of band. Yeah.
Okay. So wait now, just so you realize, this show goes live at 10:30 today in the morning. So talk about if you got a band that's going to be playing clubs in Austin. I mean, we have 12 fans globally. I'm not saying they're all going to show up, but you never know. So you tell them who the band is, where you're going to be. This is. Tell us.
Yeah, I need that international bump for sure.
There you go.
So we're playing the world famous Carousel Lounge, which I can't remember the name of the '60s artist that painted the entire interior. There's a pink elephant in the back behind the stage.
Oh, wow.
The band is named Fin Fin.
Fin. I like it.
The French words for ending.
Right.
Or the diet pill, but different spelling. We're playing that show at 9 p.m. tomorrow night, and then we play Sahara Lounge in Austin February 23rd. So that's our next two shows, and keeping busy with all that stuff. But that with all the artwork and things, it's always I'm still connecting the dots between the lyrics that I write for the music and then how that comes back into the painting. And I don't know if you guys are Guided by Voices fans or ever listen to them, but he's also a big influence on me just as the singer for that band. And they release 4 or 5 albums a year. So I guess I'm drawn to workaholics that just like to just do a lot.
Very cool. I think David and I like Perry Como, Andy Williams. We like that. They're the new up and comers is what we like.
Yeah,
so Frank Sinatra.
I like the bear. I like the bear on Andy Williams' show. I remember that. One of the first shows I saw in color. To be honest.
Here's what's funny. These guys don't remember Andy Williams or the bear or any of that.
I don't know the bear. I'm gonna look this up.
Andy Williams had a show back in the 60s when we were kids, the 1360s. And there was a bear that would always come on the show and do something crazy. And that's the bear for Andy Williams. And he was married to a very French singer who committed murder and then was acquitted for insanity, or it was an accident. And then literally 2 years later, she played a movie role or it was 2 years before, she played a movie role of the exact thing that happened to the husband she murdered. Then she married Andy Williams. It's the whole thing. In fact, Don Williams was the last Williams brother out of the four. He was a drummer. He's 100 years old and he died 3 days ago. It was in the news. So there you go. So full circle.
Brave man to marry a murderess.
A girl, I know, right?
To look up.
Yeah, right. So look up Andy Williams and you'll see he had 4 brothers. He had a show. And I would say Andy Williams, here's another thing about Andy Williams. He is the one who discovered the Osmonds. Donnie and Marie, the Osmonds were the very first television show they did in the 1960s, right? Because you remember them when they were older, right? But they were the first show they were ever on was Andy Williams.
Okay.
There you go.
I remember that Donnie and Marie show when I was a kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember the early stuff on the US TV. Andy Williams show, because it was in color, so they had that on BBC. Rowan and Martin's Laughing.
That was a great show.
Yeah. That was that was like
Miss Wilde, you're too young for this stuff. This is all YouTube stuff for you.
I had Nick at Night, growing up, and so there were definitely some older.
You were seeing all the monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys. Why? We used to watch that every day after school.
Hey,
we used to watch the monkeys.
We like to monkey
Oh
around.
Yeah. With Davy Jones. Yeah, I wanted to call myself Davy, and my mother said, "That's not your name. You're not to call yourself that." I thought, it's a cool name, Mum.
He's got a lock on that name.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. I met him. He's a very nice and very short person. So, yes. I was like, oh, look at you. You're so cute. He just put you in my pocket. So, yeah. And then the other, going to Saturday morning, you had Banana Splits, which nobody ever remembers the Banana Split show, which you might have seen on Nick at Night.
Yeah.
Nick at Night. Sure. Anyway. Yeah, I was looking at like, sorry, these guys are really old.
You also referenced earlier on, Raphael. You mentioned you referenced Twin Peaks. There's probably a whole generation of people who never saw that, let alone understood it. So,
right.
If anybody ever did, but
yeah, I'm somewhere in between. Natasha's the youngest, and you guys. I'm closer to you guys. I know the younger people don't even know what Twin Peaks is, and I'm like, how do you not know about that? It's the best show ever. But it was a big influence on me when I saw that, and that definitely made me want to make art. Just watching it and seeing how weird it was, and I love the mystery and the darkness, and that's always been something. So I'm always influenced by that, and Alejandro Jodorowsky and Surrealist. I love that stuff. Challenging,
and hence the artwork.
The other big thing we had here again was V. I don't know if any people remember that.
V,
sure, I remember V.
Yeah,
the alien, about the aliens. Sure,
Diana eating the rat.
Yes, I remember that was a big thing.
Andy Williams, the whistling one.
That's Andy Griffith. That's the Andy Griffith show with Ronnie Howard, where he played the deputy in Mayberry and FD. But that was good. That was good. Andy Williams was a 1 hour variety show, and it had different guests on, like the Sonny and Cher show and whatever. And he had a bear, not a real bear, guy in a costume, and he had the Osmonds. And then he would have a guest on. They would do their skits and their sing, and like a Flip Wilson show or all these shows that now everybody in the audience is like, what?
Right.
Well, kind of like, not really like Carson was the interview. Carson's an interview. These guys really would interview. It would be more of like a Rowan and Martin laughing, the Dean Martin show. It'd be a little more different, but more, more of a variety show. Yeah. So,
very interesting, but stupid.
That's from Rowan and Martin. That's Artie Johnson.
Yeah.
You see,
Okay,
Raphael
yeah, I
knows
just
Artie
Googled
Johnson.
him, and I've never seen him in my life. For
Yeah,
sure.
well, I think we look. Well, this is a great show. We've got a fantastic guy with photography. We've got Miss Wilde. We've got Steve, who's an encyclopedia of everything that's ever been on TV. So
Thank you very
people
little.
can. You're welcome. So it'd be great, if you pick up all these names for the people who are listening. Check it out on YouTube. It's some of it's good, some of it's bad, and some of it's absolutely brilliant. So it's all art.
And some of it is Raphael's inspiration. So you got to check it out just for that. And especially Twin Peaks. I remember when Twin Peaks was on, like you'd watch it, and after every episode, you'd be like, what? What did I for an hour?
Exactly.
Right.
And then I know they made the Twin Peaks movie a couple of years ago, and I know it didn't do well in the theaters, but it did well wherever it streamed. And I think Twin Peaks had this specific mindset and group of people that that's what you had to watch. Which was very enjoyable. And now they have the Twin Peak restaurants. I've never been to one, but I don't think it's anything to do with the
that's
restaurant.
a little different.
Okay, yeah, you guys were
just
talking
checking,
about Twin Peaks, and I was like the boob bar.
No. It's a television show, Twin Peaks.
Sorry,
Back in the 90s, it was huge. Yeah, we have a boob bar in Austin called Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
It's like a Hooters.
It's like Hooters, but different. I don't know. I've never been inside,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they have great wings.
Yeah, if David Lynch does have something to do with that, that would be amazing that he's somehow angled into that as well. And there's also a band called it, like a band from the last decade, Twin Peaks, which I feel like younger people only know about that. They don't know about the show, the old show. So yeah.
Gotta watch the show. It's a crazy show. It's only on 3 or 4 years, but it's still got a cult following. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was. I didn't watch TV for another decade after that. I don't think, because I didn't really have a TV for a while there. So
and now you don't need one because you have this. There you go.
Raphael, was that one of those shows that you went somewhere because you always had to watch it, because you referenced it quite a few times now? So it must have had a real influence on you.
It definitely did. Yeah. It just was something I think every generation has something that hits them like that where you never saw anything like it before. And it just was like, oh, okay, I can, this weird show's on TV. How did this get on TV? And so now I think younger people, when they watch it, it doesn't have the same impact because there's a lot of content that kind of came from that direction. But at the time it was, how did this get on TV? So it was amazing after watching, a lot of sitcoms and, all that stuff in the 80s. To see that was really wild. But yeah, that and, some other, I love Stanley Kubrick and Jodorowsky is my favorite filmmakers as far as that goes. They definitely take me places, make me, just think. And it's not such a linear plot. It is more about dreams and those things that you feel and don't know why. So when I guess like you were talking about my photos. So when David Lynch in Eraserhead, when he starts going into those black voids and you're seeing nothing on the screen, there's just nothing there. It's the darkest black and he's just going in there. Like, how do you make that have some type of power? Or when there's a stain on the wall and the ceiling, you'll see that little stain happening. It was the cheapest filmmaking, but it was just impactful to me.
But I think another reason that it was impactful is because when we were growing up, not Miss Wilde and her generation, but our generations, like when we were kids, we had ABC, CBS, NBC, the Superstation, and PBS. That was it. And television stopped at 1 a.m. And we were done until 6 o'clock when they played the national anthem and you started again. And I think nowadays you got 24/7, 10 million channels, and you have YouTube and you've got streaming services. And so I think it's a much different. So when you say kids today see it and they're like, oh, when we saw it, you never saw anything like that because, like growing up, we saw All in the Family and what was discussed on All in the Family was like, oh my God. But now that's discussed every day. So it's just interesting to see all that. So if you go back from like the very, very beginning into now, it just almost becomes full circle. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I took my son to I had to go. He had a project when he was at high school, where he had to go and watch an art movie. Something important. So I took him. Went to this little film theater to see Razorhead, and he still talks about it today. Cause
Yeah.
Because he says, "Well, can you remember that film? It was so weird." And the chicken, and again, and the stain, and so it's incredible how such a film, this was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I think, when I took him there, but it's still something he references every now and again. So, Dad, you remember when I went to see that movie? So hats off to that. It didn't make any sense to me when I saw it then. It didn't make much sense to me when I saw it first time around. So
it doesn't make sense to me when I see it now. So.
Yeah, exactly. But it was still a great movie. So
there's that thing that I don't understand how Dave Lynch does it. But there's always leaves me with a feeling that I'm captivated and interested in, and as long as there's that, I'm in for it. If it was just nothing happening, I wouldn't care. But it's very odd, and I keep watching. I'm hooked. So
and he knows that because he's got a bunch of fans. And we also, unfortunately, because we know you're busy and you have some supermodels you have to be with today, and you're painting, and you got to practice for your gig with Fin tomorrow night. Which, by the way, for people that are listening in the Austin area, tomorrow night is actually January 6th. And then he already told you about February. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Anytime you want to come back, let Miss Wilde know.
Okay.
Please come back and then show us more stuff. I think it would be fascinating to see your stuff. But we have the link to your website down below. It'll be in the description. So the people on the podcast, you can't see the streaming banner, but you can see the links below. The people that are watching it, the links are also below, so they can look at all your work and go from there.
And if you're open to it, we'll get a couple of your maybe that painting behind you and that other one I showed maybe back up on my website, and we can have that available for people.
I'll send you some digital files.
Throw down. Yeah.
Without that ugly copyright.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
The copyright really should be David on the bear rug.
I appreciate you coming on. You've been great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Now, David has an outro we have to play.
So good talking to you guys.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, good to have you on the show.
Oh, look at this. See, Miss Wilde, you haven't seen any of this. This is where we get to talk for 20 seconds, and then there's going to be heavy metal. Oh, you don't even know. David likes it when we show it this way. Then there's going to be this heavy metal riff, and then it's like, boom. And then we'll be done.
Spoil it, Steve.
Oh, well, everybody that's watched the show knows. And as you can see, Raphael, expectations are really low. So the show is perfect for that today. We did great.
I want to hear this heavy metal.
There we go. Here it comes.
Metal. Heavy metal.
It's the best we got.
Well, sadly, this is the end of today's show. A really big thank you to everyone who contributed today to the show. And of course, thank you to my co-host, Stephen Oldfart. I'm David Oldfart. Don't forget, subscribe to the show and get all the latest updates from Two Old Farts Making Noises.